new Diamondbacks pitching coach Brian Kaplan stands in for a couple of minutes. Brian, thank you so much for the time. First question I wanted to ask you was just, you get hired, what are some of those first steps that you take to get to know your pitching staff, not only what they like to throw, what they like to do, but also personal?
Yeah, I think personal is probably the most important part. I think these guys have gone from org to org. They've had a lot of different coaches. They're used to coaches just kind of coming and be like, hey, we're going to do this with your arsenal. We're going to add this pitch. We're going to change that. We're going to throw more of this pitch. So I think that can get a little bit monotonous. So I think the most important part is just trying to tell the guys. As cheesy as that may sound, but it's important to know what their family situation's like, kids, marriage, stuff like that. We had a couple of guys get married this offseason, a couple of guys have kids this offseason, so just more connecting on a personal level and just developing a relationship from there. We're going to get to the more of the detailed stuff and the arsenals and the usages, but just developing those relationships first.
Sure. When you do get to those, the pitching sequences and all that kind of stuff, when you come here, do you kind of sit down and just kind of let them tell you what they like and then you add your perspective? Do you have specific sort of ideas in mind when you come in and want to work with them? What is that process like?
Yeah, I mean, it goes to the same first question. I think they're used to a lot of coaches just saying this is what we're going to do and this is what's right versus wrong, and I think they've all had fairly successful careers up to this point and understand who they are a great deal and understand what they're good at, understand what their inefficiencies are. So I think giving them a platform to just talk first and just kind of share with you where they're at that point in time and kind of some of the things they want to work on. And yeah, it's us in the background doing homework, the rest of the pitching staff, the analysts, about what the last year was like, maybe going back to 23 or even 22 with some guys, trying to pull snippets from each year that kind of led to success and kind of formulate the game plan from there.
Sure. Specifically, a couple of guys at the top of your rotation, and we've gotten to know Zach as a very cerebral pitcher, but now we're kind of getting to know Corbin. What have you learned working with those two specifically?
Yeah, and Zach can go for sure, and I love that. I think he's intensely competitive between the lines, but he's into what he's trying to feel and what the shapes of his pitches are on a day-to-day basis, not just in catch play, not just in size of games. It's a 24/7 process with him, and I respect that's why he's so damn good. But I think Burns, he's big into the advanced side of things. He wants to feel like he's very well prepped for the hitter, or very well prepped for the opponent. So getting an opportunity to kind of see how he researches the lineups and some of the previous matchups he's had has been interesting to kind of see how he works, and then coming to him with more of the shapes and the movements of the profiles he's had when he's been really successful is kind of something we've come from on our end. But it's been a good balance.
Jordan Montgomery's had a bit of a spotlight on him just because of how good of a career he had. Last year didn't go the way he wanted. So coming into camp, what have you noticed working with him? And I know his first outing probably didn't go the way that he would have liked to, but what adjustments do you want to see from him?
Yeah, I think last year was just a challenge for multiple points. So kind of putting that behind us. He made an effort this offseason to get more shape, to be a little more physical. He lost a little weight, kind of pushed himself in his throwing programs and his lifting and things like that. And it showed. He showed in his offseason bullpens. It showed when he first got here. Everybody has kind of a weird first one or a weird second one. Foz had one. Guys who just kind of have that outing that's a little bit off. Unfortunately for him was the first one. I know he was trying to find a little bit better momentum out of the gate, but his side's been really good. His shape's been really good, and trying to find the cleaner sinker, change-up shape that he's had in the past, trying to tighten up the curveball that got a little big and loopy on him last year, kind of more of the focus. But I think just getting a good one in the next time and kind of building off from there.
Closer is a question that is going to come up, until you guys announce who's going to be the closer. But at this point in time, what are you kind of learning about the guys who are vying for that position back there?
Yeah, it's a lot of really good guys in the back end. I think that's really it. I think just making sure those guys are strong against both sides of the plate. Obviously, if you want to put a closer back there, they got to be able to match up both sides of the plate. They got to be able to hold runners. They got to feel their position. The little things that are going to be important to get the last 3 outs. There's a big group of guys that we can choose from to do that right now. So it's just exciting to see those guys go out and throw them.
And then last one for me is you guys had a lot of success as a pitching staff with Philadelphia the last few years. It's a very talented group. That's certainly part of it. But what did you see kind of work as far as maximizing what you were getting from your pitching staff?
Yeah, starters set the tone, and that's the great thing about here. There's a big crop of starters. Even some of the younger guys, the minor leagues, some of the Latin guys we've seen, Diaz and Mena, a nice starter depth. I think there's a really good crop of starters, and when the starters set the tone and go deep and can handle some workload, it just takes a lot of stress off the bullpen. So I think we have really talented bullpen, we have really talented starters. I think guys just getting comfortable in their roles and allowing the bullpen not to feel like they have to do more than what they're being asked to do is going to be a huge piece for our success. I think it was a big piece of what made Philly successful.
Just a quick follow-up to that, in terms of your background and trying to keep guys healthy, get guys in the right shape to be healthy, what did you find worked with working with major league pitchers on a day-to-day basis to try to maximize them in that way?
Yeah, a lot of that goes on off the field. I mean, there's some really talented medical staff, really talented strength staff. There's really talented people in place. It's just making sure the conversations are happening kind of together, that they understand what we're trying to work on with the pitchers. We have a better understanding of, how they manage stress. So it's just daily conversations as a group. That's been really exciting. And again, it's a super talented staff in there. And I think the education of the pitchers need to know what's unique. How's J Mart different than Thompson? And the way they prep, the way they warm up, the way they recover. I think those things are valuable for pitchers to have a better understanding.
Terrific. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to step with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, you as well.